catch the markings of the fortress. Alright, bear with me 1 second. By the word Idumea, right here, you see one of the main fortresses is Masada. That's it right there. Right there. Masada. And if, once you look at this whole page, you'll see the fortresses.
Move your hand back. Hold the book up higher and move your hand back. Because it's on the candles. Okay.
Right here. That's Masada.
Okay.
The land of going toward the land of Idumea.
Okay.
We had taken over this land of Idumea under the Hasmonean dynasty, under the Maccabees. This land belonged to us then. At that particular, it had belonged to us at that particular time. We had the Edomites. This is the land that the Edomites came out of, which another name, Idumea, which are the so-called white people. You occupied the land south of Judea, which is called Idumea. All right. So once you look at this chart, you see fortresses all down this line. Now Masada was located. You zoom in on the map down in here. And what they did, like I stated earlier, was fight off the Romans while the other gave enough time for the other Israelites to go further down into the interiors of Africa. And by the way, our forefathers had purchased different areas down in these areas of Libya, especially Cyrene. We had purchased this area just in case of an onslaught from the Romans, in case they came to attack us. And in the mountain of Masada, it took them 3 years to overthrow that on the Slivim, which was a Roman general. And they had to build ramps to get up to a certain area to kill it, to take that mountain down. That was a strong port. And it had enough food in that area to last us for years. And once the Romans had got up there on Mount Masada, all the black Jews, the Jews that was up there, except for a small group, had committed suicide because they said that they would rather die than to go into slavery under the so-called white man. That took place. Give me liberty or give me death came from that point, came from that time under Masada when we was fleeing out of Jerusalem. That's what the people stated on the mountain Masada. Give me liberty or give me death. And they fought to the death. They rather kill themselves than to fall in the hand of their enemies. All right. We're going to continue to read on in the book called The History of Israel by Martin North. Read on.
The Jews wrought cruel havoc for a time among the heathen population, and a great deal of blood was shed in Cyprus.
A great deal of blood was shed in Cyprus, because keep in mind, after the Romans overtook us, they set up garrisons and so forth. All right. If you zoom back over to the map, it says that the Jews brought great havoc on the heathens in Cyprus. Wherever the Israelites was at, the Romans had set up garrisons. They set up garrisons later on, and as they took over certain parts from Syria all the way down into certain islands of Cyprus, where the Jews was at, they set up garrisons, and we had uprisings, insurrections, and fought against them. Read on.
Okay. And a great deal of blood was shed in Cyprus too. Trajan overcame these risings and no doubt acted brutally against the rebels. In this connection, the most interesting question about these disturbances, which really belong to the history of the Judaism, is whether there were not simultaneous disturbances in Palestine which might be regarded as a prelude to what happened soon afterwards under Hadrian. This possibility is suggested by the fact that Trajan appointed his general Lucius Quietus.
Now Lucius Quietus that Trajan put down over Judea was a black man. His name is Lucius Quietus. Now it's going to tell you where he came from, the area that he came from. Read on. He was a general. Read on.
Mauritanian. cavalry leader?
The Mauritanian's cavalry leader representing, he was from the Mars, Eric Morris. Mauritanian was northern Africa, so-called Northern Africa, over here by Serene, where the Jews was located at. So we did have certain blacks that was involved in helping to bring down our people also. Just like you got Uncle Tom blacks today that lives in the United States of America, that's in the political structure of this society. You had blacks back there that was in the political structure for the cause of the white man back there, and you have blacks that in the political structure for the cause, sole cause for the white man today. Right? This guy name was Lucius Quintus, a Mauritanian cavalry leader. Read on.
Governor of Judea, as soon as he had ruthlessly suppressed the Jewish rebels in Mesopotamia, perhaps in order to restore order in Judea too. But we have no definite information on this point.
Okay, they leaving off to no definite information, but there's many scholars that wrote about what actually happened. They just tried to evade the issue. Read on.
A last great rising took place under Hadrian, from 117 AD to 138 AD.
Now Hadrian was an adopted son of Trajan, right? Well, of the emperors. Now these particular emperors, from Nerva, Trajan, Hadrian, and there's a few other ones. They was called the good emperors, 5 good emperors of the Romans. The reason that they was called good emperors is because they put down the uprising of the Jews, and they came after the Flavian dynasty. And they put down the uprising of the Jews, and they was getting peace in Rome during this period. And they was slaughtering our people. So they called them the 5 good emperors, from Nerva, Trajan, Hadrian, Antonius Pius, and Marcus Aurelius. These was after these 5 good emperors, then we had the black leaders coming in to take over the Roman Empire. His name was Septimus Severus. Read on.
From all that can be ascertained, this was an episode on a scale comparable to that of the events of AD 66 to 70.
Okay, this was a great insurrection that took place under Hadrian. They slaughtered a whole lot of the Israelites during that period. They said it was on the level of 70 AD that killed so many of our people. Read on.
But whereas Josephus has left the detailed account of the latter, all that we have about the rising under Hadrian are the rather laconic statements in Dio Cassius.
Dio Cassius, I've shown previous pictures of Dio Cassius. He was definitely a black historian and scholar. Dio Cassius, the laconic statements that he left, which means short, brief statements that he left concerning what happened under Hadrian. They said that they'll have a whole lot of facts on what took place. But as you study the history further, you'll find out that St. Jerome and Origen and these other scholars had much information on this period. It's a lot of information. Also, a lot of this information was put in the scrolls and the records that was in the Quran caves under the Dead Sea. The Dead Sea Scrolls, a lot of the information is in there. And during this period,